And hello, everyone. Welcome to Chapter Tactics, where we go over tactics and strategies to help both new and veteran players alike. I am your host tonight, the one, the only, Dameki. With me tonight is the very beautiful, handsome, vivacious, again, lively, which that's what that means. All right. Luscious, bootylicious, Brick Taylor.
Oh, you did the opposite way this time. Hello, everyone. I hope hi. I'm back for another. It's like my second episode total.
Yes.
I did a sisters one, and now I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Hello. I'm also subbing in for a missing person today.
Yes.
Matt will not be with us. He is doing some personal stuff, and so I am subbing in for the topic today. And Dameki is our host. And with us is the wonderful, vivacious, bootylicious Raph.
Hi.
Yeah. Raph's like, I never get to say anything.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything.
Chapter Tactics.
Oh, no, you don't know what to... Oh, crap.
It's
Hey, John P., how you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here, too. I am also all those SAT words that they use. Vivacious.
What's SAT? I took the ACT.
It's
No, I'm
the thing
joking.
I failed.
Bootylicious is my favorite SAT word.
Bootylicious? Yeah. What about Fergalicious?
That one, too.
Hey, Dameki, what's also our topic is today?
So our topic today is how to get tournament ready. So the reason why we're choosing this topic today is because recently over this past weekend, I went to my first tournament. It was a team tournament, but it was my first tournament. I was filling in for Kenny Boucher from Next Level Painting on the Long War team. Marky also went to fill in for Mike Haspel. His plane got canceled, so he ended up filling in for Mike. And we had a grand old time. We had a pretty good time. So I figured, after the craziness that was last-minute preparations to fill in for a tournament, why not talk about how to get tournament ready? And since Bricky's been to a tournament.
Yep, I've been to two, and one like a week or two before yours, so pretty recently.
And John P's going to his first tournament.
Yeah, this topic is for me.
And he's part of a league.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah. I figured, this would probably be a great topic to talk about since most people have yet to go to their first tournament since COVID, is a thing. So I figured, we could talk about our experiences, especially with what's going on in the world, and share some information and get people hopefully prepared to go to their first tournament and excited.
Let's go.
Sounds great, yeah.
Yeah. But before that, why don't we just go around the table and say what's been going on? I already said what I was doing or what I did. What y'all been up to?
John P., you first.
Okay. Let's see. So I haven't been hobbying recently. Actually, no. Outside of Dice Check games, I haven't played many games, but playing a lot of Pokemon Unite. This has nothing to do with Warhammer. You can skip me. Nothing's happened with me.
I've been working pretty hard on my Night Lords as of recently. Lots of kit bashing, lots of third-party stuff, really trying to get them all like my creative vision. I also found out that if you use heavy-duty epoxy to try to make a big puddle of blood, it doesn't dry ever.
Oh.
So, I was going to ask.
I have been using paper towels to after like 3 days of it drying, I dab away the excess. It looks good still, but it's like, yeah.
It's funny because I went to his house, right? And I stayed there since the tournament was in Irvine. And as I'm there, he's like, hey, how long does it take for epoxy to dry? I'm like, I don't know. And I go up into the room and it's like right there. And I was like, is it dry? And I touched it. It was not dry.
It was 3 weeks since I put it on. I think there might be a setter that epoxy is normally used with.
Probably.
Like another chemical to set it.
Yeah.
So for now, I'm just going to make sure that's in the middle of my base and I won't touch it ever. And then I'll be like, if you touch my blood, your model will get screwed up.
Don't tip it over.
What if you get, this is starting to turn into a hobby talk now. What if you get the stuff that they use to make water, like that clear stuff? I think it's epoxy, right?
Yeah, I have that.
Probably use that instead.
That's what I bought.
Oh, is that what you bought?
I think there's a step I missed.
You might have missed a step.
Yeah. I think I missed a step.
I also have the resin water stuff I could lend to you that I was planning on using, but I'm not using.
Then maybe I'll try yours. Perhaps I got the wrong brand. I thought I got the right brand. But regardless, Night Lords. Paying them, really excited. It's going to take me a while because I'm trying to go really hard on them, but hard on them as in like every model has like all these intricate details and stuff, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Let's go.
Be,
Yeah.
really,
And
be
they're-
really fun.
They're smaller than Primaris, right?
Yeah, though if I'm not mistaken, I think in 2019 a lot of the CSM models got some revamps, or maybe it was a little bit earlier than that, or earlier as in like 2018, 17. So the actual Chaos Space Marine models, Terminators, regular Venom Crawlers, Obliterators, they all look pretty darn good now.
Yeah.
But no, they're not. They're still like not as big as Primaris because the lore reasons, but they're not like those old really stubby TAC Marines or anything.
All right. So now you've got your Space Marine army is Salamanders.
You say Space Marine Army, I say 2,000 points I got from Indominus boxes.
Okay. You play Sisters.
That's my big one.
You have Imp Guard.
That's another big one.
Your Chaos is now
Night Lords.
Night Lords. And then your Xenos is Necrons.
Yes, don't forget Custodians.
Oh, yeah. And your Custodians.
Yes.
Jeez.
Which
You
is
have so
like,
much Imperium.
it's like half an army,
Yeah.
Custodians.
And then John P., you've got Admech.
Yep.
And Space Wolves.
Yep.
And Blood Angels.
Yep.
What's your Chaos? You
I
don't have one yet.
I'll probably. I don't think I'm gonna start another army anytime soon.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, if we're still around for 10th edition, that's when I'll start the next army. I'll start. It'll likely be either Chaos or Xenos, but I think I'm staying put right now with these three armies in terms of Warhammer 40K.
That's
Okay.
a smart man.
Yeah. Oh, well, because like the thing that I've noticed too, a lot of people have like at least one Xenos, one Chaos, and like one Imperium.
Yeah.
So,
I just have a love Imperium.
yeah.
I know.
It's a little bit ridiculous.
You don't say.
Adeptus Ridiculous.
Subtle plug.
Speaking of Adeptus Ridiculous, would
Yes.
you guys like to know a did you know fact?
Oh yes, I would love to.
Yeah.
All right. So there is a wonderful moment during the Horus Heresy, or a little bit prior than this, back when Horus was first appointed War Master, when all the brothers were all in a room like Sanguinius, Mortarion, Fulgrim, etc. And Fulgrim and the Khan were having a nice conversation with each other. And it was Fulgrim was berating the Khan for something because Fulgrim's kind of a prick. And he said, it's like, Jagatai, you know, I don't know very much about you. It's kind of strange. The Mars, or the tech adepts on Mars tell me you do strange things to your ships because he makes them go really fast. And the Khan looks at Fulgrim and says, I've been told you do a lot of strange things to your warriors.
Bile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fulgrim.
Nice.
Fun
That's a
little
good
thing.
one.
Khan is really cool. Did you know it's actually lore accurate to forget about the White Scars?
Really?
The White Scars were constantly forgotten about by all the other brothers and not like considered very important.
It's kind of sad.
That's very sad.
Yeah, because they all thought they were like barbarians because Mongolian.
Yeah.
But in reality, without Jagatai, Imperium would have lost the Horus Heresy by a large margin.
Yeah.
So it's one of those like, while you were having premarital sex, I was studying the blade, and not the barbarians. I thought you come to me for help.
Khan!
Anyway,
All right. Well, I guess that means that we're going to dive right into the main topic. So that's what I'm doing right now. I got this. I know Matt's not here. I got it. I got it.
We
got it.
We got an outline.
got it.
We got it.
I got it.
We can
You
read
got it.
down the paper.
Dameki, what do you have?
I got it.
Okay, what is
Yes.
it?
This show is brought to you by FrontlineGaming.org, where you can get amazing game mats for not just your 40K games, but almost any tabletop game out there. Purchase miniatures at a discount and join some of the largest 40K events in the industry. They also have the largest 40K podcast network in the business, with shows like Signals from the Frontline, Chapter Tactics, which you're listening to right now, 40K Game Changers, 40K Stat Center, Grim After Dark, and so much more. That's frontlinegaming.org or you can either click on the link in the description of this podcast on all the social media goodies.
Fortnite gaming.
Fortnite Gaming.
Fortnite.
Frontlinegaming.org, everybody. Don't forget. All right. Everyone close your eyes. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes.
You can't tell me what to do.
But it's been years or months since you've been playing Warhammer 40K. You've poured blood, sweat, tears into the hobby and spent hours playing your army. The time has come to put your game to the ultimate test. It's time for your first tournament. So what do you do now?
Is that a question or is a Dean Kamen?
Yeah, Yeah, what do you do now?
Dean came as the inventor of the Segway. Was it a Segway?
Yeah, but he also fell off a cliff.
Actually, that was the other guy.
Oh, okay.
Not him. It's time for a tournament, I think.
Yes.
So, Bricky,
Yes, sir.
you went to your first GT.
My first GT, yes.
Yes. And that was the Dice Hammer GT.
Correct.
So, how was it? What were you expecting when you went?
Well, I went to a tournament before that, pre-COVID, and it was an RTT, about like 16 players, or give or take. And this was mid-8th or late 8th, I guess, would be the case.
Yeah.
It was only 3 games. I brought Imp Guard, brought a Bane Blade. First tournament ever. I got last place. I mean, dead last.
You got dumpstered.
I lost every game. I went bottom, 16 out of 16. And I got a $25 gift card for sticking it out. It was
Nice.
great.
Let's go.
So went to the Dice Hammer one, 36, 38 players, give or take.
Yeah.
And I got 8th. Got top 10, went 4-2 with Sisters of Battle. And it was a certainly interesting experience, both from a physical and mental point of view. Warhammer games are long.
That they are.
3 of them in a day.
6 games in 2.
That they are.
6 games in 2.
It's
Very
fatigue.
long.
Yeah.
Just think about how we feel after one stream, and
Yeah.
that times 3.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah.
In a weird way, it's almost like, in a sense, it's like driving. Obviously, you're standing up for a while, but it's almost
Yeah.
like driving, where driving 6 hours involves you sitting down doing nothing. But by the end of the 6 hours, you're like mentally and physically exhausted by being on the whole time.
Yeah, because you can't take your eye off the road.
Absolutely.
Can't take your eye off the game.
Never.
Yes. John P. What? Did you like that?
Yeah, it sounds so corny. It sounds like something a basketball coach would say in like one of those kids' sports movies. You
Yeah.
can't take your eye off the game, Johnny. You can't do that. Okay. Yes.
All right, so you're preparing for your first tournament. You're going to the SoCal Open, right?
Yes.
As am I. As is all. I think everybody in the room's going.
Yeah. Everyone dice check essentially is going.
But you've been preparing though through league, right?
Yes.
So tell us about your experience thus far doing league play.
Yeah, so right now, I guess the league that we're in at our LGS allows us to pick a faction, and then they allow us to run different lists for each game. So in that sense, it gives me experience playing a bunch of different lists against a bunch of different armies. So it's playtesting. It's a great way to play test, great way to get a feel for what it's like to play against people that you're not familiar with. Before the league, I actually have never played against anyone in real life that wasn't one of the Dice Check boys. So
We're not real life. That's
No,
what
we're
we
not
made
real
it.
life.
yeah, watch. I'm gonna touch Bricky and it's gonna go straight through him.
Whoa! Whoa!
Hologram.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Are you Patrick Swayze?
I ran out of wounds.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, leagues are a great way to get ready for a tournament in that sense, especially if you want to test out lists, especially if you have social anxiety like some of us do. You're not ready to go out in public, especially in times like these where there's a pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
You, sir, went to a team
yeah.
event.
I did go to a team event, and it was unlike anything that I thought it was going to be. It was really cool. I'm not gonna lie. Team event, I think I would rather go to nothing but team events because there's the camaraderie between your own teammates and then like everybody else there just having a really good time. Like it was something special. Like
Granted, you haven't played a solo event yet.
no, I have not played a solo event yet, which I will be playing at the SoCal Open. So what ended up happening was Wyatt came into town on Thursday. He got here on Thursday.
Who's Wyatt?
Wyatt's from Jacket Club's Painting, which is also from the Long War podcast. So Wyatt came into town. We met up with Wyatt on Friday. Kenny was doing the Long War podcast on Thursday and hurt his back. So Kenny reached out to me and said, "Hey, Dameki, can you play Death Guard for me at the team event?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. I can run your list." I was just like, "Send me the list and let me know, and I'll let you know like what I don't have, and then I can get it from you somehow." So he was running 2 Defilers, 2 Photo Blow Drones, Lord of Contagion with Hulking Physique, and 3 Destral Terminators, Foul Blight Spawn, Mortarian, and 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. So pretty much kind of like what he already played on the dice check during a BR against Matt. And so all I needed was the photo blow drones and the defilers because that's what I didn't have. But on Friday, as we're hanging out with Wyatt, we take him to go get something to eat. We were planning on doing something here at the studio with Wyatt. And then the next thing we know, Mike Haspel had to drop out because his plane got canceled. Apparently there was some shenanigans with Southwest or something over the weekend. So his plane got canceled, and we were like, well, now we need another person to fill in. So we called Marky, and we were like, hey, Marky, can you fill in with Death Watch? So Marky brought Death Watch. And
he brought his Death Watch.
He brought his Death Watch.
Yeah, he brought it.
Hey, I did pretty well, too. I went undefeated in losses. But yeah, Marky went in there and cleaned house. That man went 4-1, and I thought he was gonna go 5-0. But it was very interesting. A team tournament is very different than solo play. The reason why I say it's different is because the way that this event was set up was there were 5 tables, right? 5 tables were each different terrain setups. So you had like light terrain, medium terrain, and then like a couple of tables of heavy terrain, something that we're more used to, right? So what happens is that the 2 coaches or captains come up for the team, they roll off. The first person to win gets to choose the first table. So normally they'll like choose a good table and then maybe put their best army forward, or they might put their lame duck army out there to kind of bait a better army to take it. So, and I was the lame duck army.
You're the fall guy.
I didn't even know. I was just like, oh, this, all right, this looks maybe like it's competitive. I didn't know. Like, I was just like, all right, I'll see what I can do with this. Sure, because I never played with defilers before, or the photo blow drones. But the photo blow drones explain themselves. I just didn't know what to do with the defilers. But yeah, it keeps going back and forth until all 5 matches are set. And then once they're set, whoever wins, like whichever team gets 3 wins that round. And then you keep doing that. So the first day was 3 games. The second day was 2 games. And then at the end, they calculate points, and then whoever has the most points is the, number one. If there's like tiebreakers, I'm sure like if somebody wins 5-0, they just win.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% positive. I wasn't really paying attention. I was just rolling dice and having a good time.
That sounds neat. It sounds like there's a metagame within the the metagame.
Yeah, it's very interesting because like even Kenny was explaining it to me. So like normally you have someone build in like a quirky list, like a skew list.
Yeah.
To just kind of like soak up points, not win, but just soak points up, so that like if you do get into a tiebreaker situation, like you have enough points to overall win the event.
Often you might have a person build a list that is really good at killing AdMech or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, therefore we're fighting AdMech. Cool, we'll send the anti-AdMech man to him.
Dude, I fought every meta Drukari and AdMech list that weekend, I swear. I fought Drukari twice, and I fought AdMech once, and then I fought Emperor's Children, and then I fought a Eldar mix as my final match.
It's like Craft Worlds and Harleys or something? Or?
No, it was Craft Worlds Drukari.
Ah.
So you essentially fought Drukari 3 times.
Yeah, I essentially fought Drukari 3 times.
That's
yeah.
brutal.
Oh, and we should mention that this is pre-AdMech FAQ.
Yes.
Oh,
They weren't
yes.
using it yet, so 4 up, Wundin, Radio Carbine.
Yeah, dude, it was
Rich
great.
rounds.
It was great. I was sitting there, and I was like, he's about to kill Mortarion with just Skitarii. And I go, hey, didn't they FAQ enriched rounds? And he goes, oh, yeah, this is pre-FAQ. And I was like, huh?
Hey, buddy, it's turn 1. Can you take that Mortarion off the board, please?
I was just like, oh.
Nice Morty you got there. It would
Bye,
be a shame
Morty.
if I were to enrich rounds it.
Which actually goes into our first topic, I think pretty darn well, because we were talking about prep mainly, right? For prepping for tournaments, for big things like this.
Yeah.
And
hold on. I wanted to tell my story for John P. real quick.
Oh,
My
you got a
bad.
story?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do
All
it.
right, so this is the AdMech game.
Okay.
All right. This is the only story that I wanted to say about the game. All right. Or about the matches. So in the AdMech game, PBC towards the middle, there was a middle objective.
Okay, Plague Burst Crawler.
So I put the Plague Burst Crawler in the middle. There's a tank there. So the AdMech tank's there, right? I tried to kill it, didn't kill it, but he shoots it, kills the Plague Burst Crawler. I auto explode. Mortal wounds the tank. He has to roll. It explodes. Kills 3 characters.
Oh, oh my goodness.
It was like the Marshal, Adominus, and
Yeah.
I think something else.
Oh,
Yeah.
And you didn't take assassinate.
No.
Oh.
It was great, though. It was a good feeling. Like, I lost the match, but then I was like, but I won.
You wanted spirit.
won that one. Ooh.
But yeah, that was my story I was saving for you. So yeah,
That's a
it
good
was
one.
pretty funny.
Remember you telling me about that? That was funny.
Yeah,
That was a good
yeah,
time.
yeah. All right, so list construction, right? For prep. So I've kind of been toying around with my list for SoCal Open. Have y'all yet?
If I'm running the Sacred Rose list, I think I'm running because it's either I finish Night Lords and I just roll dice for fun,
Yeah.
or I run a variation of the Sacred Rose list I ran prior, and a little bit. You know, you run the list. I ran those 6 games, and I said to myself, I should drop this, and add these instead. I don't know about you, John P. Where you're trying to? Have you practiced the list you want to run yet, or?
Yeah, I'm probably going to run a Space Wolves successor list of some kind. It's kind of just the standard stuff that people are running with Space Wolves. You get a Chapter Master. You go with the double exploding 6s build, reroll everything, get a bunch of 6s, get like 30 hits with Thunderhammers somehow.
Yeah.
That and probably...
You're playing whack-a-mole with those
essentially,
Thunderhammers.
yeah. That with the Librarian as to provide me all that utility, fight last, cool stuff. Had to watch my language there. But yeah, gonna play a variation of Space Wolves probably. If not, well, it's either that or I'm gonna play Admech. It depends on how I feel after my 5 games at the league. But I'm heavily leaning towards Space Wolves right now. Just gotta represent, my OG faction.
Yeah, because playtesting is important. Because like I'm doing the same thing too. Like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna probably play Death Guard at SoCal Open, preparing for this tournament. But I have Drakari in my back pocket, just in case. Everybody's probably like, "Oh, Meta Chaser."
Yeah, no, me
Like,
too.
nah,
You're
dude,
like-
I've had my Drakari forever. So, but I mean, the thing that because like list preparation is important, and the thing is, we're going into a tournament now for us where we're gonna have brand new Thousand Suns Codex, and we're gonna have a Grey Knights Codex.
Yep.
So now we got to take that into accountability. And like I know probably people do the same thing in preparation for a tournament. You're like because like you have to submit your lists at a certain time, so you got to like take into everything into accountability up until the point to where you need to make that list submission. And then once you do that list submission, it's set.
Yeah.
Like you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
So like now you got to really think long and hard. Like, is this it? Is this the all comers list? So like you gotta build the list and you gotta play test it. Have you been doing any of your play testing?
I haven't play tested my newest iteration yet,
Right.
but the people I fought at that tournament was a huge spread.
Yeah.
It was Knights, Nids, Grey Knights, Iron Warriors, which was the double Lord of Skull, Brass Scorpion, Custodians, and Ultramarines. So I was pretty and no one was playing Admech in that tournament because the only Admech player had a TO. But there was it was a nice spread of like lots of different kinds of armies, right?
Yeah.
Nids for the Horde, lots of elites. And it was pretty easy to tell what I needed to swap because I looked at the list and I said almost every game X was unperforming or
Right.
Y was great. And then you can remember, okay, can I put more emphasis on what was doing great and then drop what was doing bad and swap it around? So
Yeah.
I had an Exorcist, the big organ tank. I mean, I brought it because I didn't have anything else really, and I painted it nicely, and that was why I wanted to do it.
You want to show it off? It's beautiful.
I wanted to show it off. Yeah, I got second best painted, so
Yeah.
it works.
It
did its job.
carried you in that aspect.
Yeah, but it was awful. It barely did anything. And that was 180 points.
Yeah.
And so I had a bunch of penitent engines that were great threats, but didn't do a lot. So now I'm taking, instead of 4 penitent engines, I'm taking 3 mortifiers for all their heavy bolters, and then more retributors and larger squads of retributors instead of the Exorcist, because Sacred Rose have a good strat that works with retributors surprisingly well.
Yeah.
And retributors are retributors, so they're always good. But it helps like, okay, drop some of this, add some of this, really kind of mix it around a little bit.
Yeah. Are you basing it off of secondaries that you plan on taking too?
A little bit. So Sacred Rose is entirely, my whole build is dedicated around buffing up a ton of mortal wounds,
Mm-hmm.
and also getting max points on the secondary where all you got to do is spend miracle dice.
Yeah.
Because Sacred Rose works where every time you spend a miracle dice on a 4-up, you gain a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
So even in the charge phase, I'll just use 2 miracle dice to auto fail a charge,
Mm-hmm.
but then just like I'll have double ones. I'll just use both so I can perhaps roll again to get better miracle dice, and I still get points for spending.
Right.
So
That's neat. That's a nice way to score points right
it,
there.
it works out surprisingly
Yeah.
well. And then I take St. Catherine, which assists me, and I could spend a whole episode talking about the list. But point being that lots of little action units for engage
Mm-hmm.
or banners, et cetera, things like that. So
Yeah. What about you, John P, for your lists? What was the prep that you've been basing your list around, like for secondaries and whatnot? Because I mean, I feel like that's what most people should be doing, is building their list to focus on their secondaries.
Yeah, the way my list is kind of built is same. I have like a bunch of little fast units to go places, be places that I need them to be. But my list is pretty. It's pretty go to objectives, stand there, and then make you come to me. If you don't come to me, I score a bunch of points.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have like a bunch of throwaway units. Like the beautiful thing about Space Wolves, you can run a 15-point cyber dog, and you can run that cyber dog onto a midfield objective and score you points for oats, for stranglehold for 1 turn, and it makes your opponent has to shoot downwards at a 15-point dog, and then you can also make them feel bad about killing a dog.
I was about to say, you're so mean. You did that to me.
Yeah.
and the best part is sometimes they'll have to make weird risks for that dog.
Yeah.
Like they might take that 20 blob of Scutari and send 2 of them at the dog.
Yeah.
And then they just roll bad and they miss.
Yep.
Like, oh, am I actually going to have to fire a last cannon chicken at this dog?
And plus the whole thing with Space Wolves too is like they are like a countercharge army.
Mm-hmm.
Like they throw some chaff out there, and maybe put someone. It draws the opponent's attention out, and then once they're vulnerable, that's when you go in and do your business.
Yeah. I like to do the same thing with the Chaos Spawn.
Yeah.
Like take 2 Chaos Spawn because they can be in a unit of 1. Just use those to try to get engaged.
Yeah.
And then also it's like, oh, you're not going to do anything about it? All right, he's just going to get me engaged the
Get
whole
me
game.
points.
Thanks. All right.
How about you, Dameki?
For my list, I got some crazy shenanigans going on. I did change. Mortarion is not in my list right now. 1 iteration right now. I need to do play testing though.
Yeah.
Because like all league, I used Mortarion, so I need to do some play testing. I'm also adding some units that I don't have built or painted right now, so I need to get those done, and then play test it and see how it does.
Yeah. We got a little internal playtest group here, so.
Yeah, boy.
Boy.
Yeah, boy. But yeah, besides list construction, right? One thing that you need to be familiar with on the day of is the event handbook, or its code of conduct, so to say. Because every event has certain rules, like maybe no club dice. There's might be different rules for being battle ready. I mean, the event handbook is also something that you really need to be familiar with before you go to any of your events. Did you happen to look at the event handbook before you went to the GT?
I did. Often it's the stuff that seems probably pretty normal. Paint your armies if you want your points. Make sure they're base, 3 colors, all that kind of usual stuff, which is more or less in the actual games book now. But the big things that a lot of people either forget or need to remember is that, hey, if you're having a proxy, even if it's like a different weapon, generally you want to take a picture and email it to make sure they get the okay. The guy who was running the Lord of Skulls in Brass Scorpion, the Brass Scorpion was a giant Addams Family hand from a war like Lord Titan.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a giant hand that looks like a scorpion.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing ever. And obviously he got the okay for it because it was roughly the same size.
Yeah.
But that's an important thing to remember. Often the code of conduct is just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Wear deodorant.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yes.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
But that's like it tends to be a lot of that main stuff. It normally covers things like proxies and third-party models, things of that nature as well, just to be sure.
Yeah.
Modeling for advantage.
And by the way,
Modeling for advantage.
when we're talking about the event handbook too, we're talking about non-GW. Like we know GW has their own event handbook, and it's even more strict than some of the things that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
If you really want to know what GW's event handbook's like, you can go find it on the Warhammer community. But like even ITC, like Frontline Gaming, they have their own event handbook. Dice Hammer, the events that we've gone to, have theirs. I haven't really looked yet.
They're incredibly straightforward.
Yeah.
It's basically what I said was like, hey, you got a proxy? show us on email, make sure it's okay.
Luckily, I had someone there to just be my coach and be like, all right, this is what we do. And like, I was just like, I'm going to be super nice. I'm going to be a good boy. I'm not going to get a yellow card.
Yeah.
I'm going to be good.
I mean, I think another thing you should also check for, I guess, the handbook is maybe like what they might also tell you what the recent FAQs they're going to be using are.
Yeah.
Like what the cutoff date is.
Yeah.
And then also, you also could get a chance to scout out maybe missions or like their possible terrain setups.
Yeah, the missions
which you
were
can
on
use.
there. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. You can use that to scout, maybe like set up the missions and terrain on like TTS or something, practice deployment, practice, get a little practice gaming with your inner circle.
List cutoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Very important. When the last day you can put your list in, because no one likes to tailor for lists.
Yeah.
Yeah. So besides that, so tools for the days, right? Or for the day or days, whether you're going to RTT or GT. Main thing, let's start off with nutrition, right?
First thing, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, the first important thing, hydration. So for my event, they have water there. Luckily, I didn't have to bring a huge hydro flask with me or a Camelback or anything. I didn't feel like I was going back to war. So even though I was going to war, technically.
Going to
Warhammer. But yeah, they provided water there. And luckily, the venue where we were at, it was on top of a bowling alley. Like it was in a bowling alley, but upstairs. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really nice.
Like afterwards, you just go bowling with the boys.
Yeah, or you can go down the bar. They had a full service bar. It was nice.
Not every place is like that, but often they will have water. That being said, still bring your own water to an extent.
Yeah.
Hydration is super, super, super important.
Yep. Yeah.
Your days are minimum 9 hours.
Yes.
Often longer due to in between time and all that kind of stuff. And so that's a huge part of it. And of course, food. People might load up on McChickens. If that's you, that's fine. But as far as I'm concerned, you get yourself some of that quinoa.
Yeah,
you need to be healthy for this. Some trail mix.
Obviously, you know your own body. If you know you can handle like that number one with a side of extra large fries and cheese all over it, then go for it. But I wouldn't suggest that.
We would suggest vegetables, some carbs, but not too many carbs. And obviously, coffee, unfortunately, is not a vegetable, nor is it a water, so to speak.
Yo, I got to have my coffee. I ain't going to lie.
I know, but don't only drink coffee.
Yeah.
You'll get a headache.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Well, I mean, you know what's funny?
If you don't drink coffee.
Speaking of nutrition, so the whole time I was there, I didn't fart once. Like, I didn't have the urge. Yeah, and as a Death Guard player, we're naturally stinky people.
I was about to say, you gave your opponent the advantage of clean air.
Yeah, I did. It was odd, though. I was like, man.
No wonder you lost your games.
Yeah, I was like, man.
You're missing something.
I should have used chemical warfare.
Sounds to me like you were better than a lot of some tournament players I know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been to Magic the Gathering tournaments.
That's very true.
In Europe.
Don't rip ass when you're playing, please.
Yeah. Or do if you're Death Guard.
Or do if your enemy's being particularly mean.
Hey, you hear that frog?
So,
eat well, drink a lot of water.
Yes. And just be kind to your gut.
Yeah, be mindful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be mindful of other people. So besides the nutritional part, so now we get into the physical part. So you're going to be on them feet for hours. You're going to be in your clothes for hours. At least the first day is 9 hours, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So you need comfortable clothes. You need comfortable shoes. I have a go-to shoe that I go to. What about y'all?
Yep, same. Yeah.
Yeah.
This the Ultra Boost for me.
Dude,
Yeah.
same.
Boost,
Yeah, let's go.
Same.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same.
Old Ultra
Hey,
Boost.
Adidas, sponsor us. Sponsor us.
No free ads.
Yeah.
I wear some pretty good shoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty good shoes. Yes.
Shoes are huge. Often you'll be standing more than you'll be sitting by a large margin.
Yeah.
You might sit more in the final game or something, but you still have to often stand up, move your models around.
Yep.
Do the usual thing.
Yep.
Roll some dice.
Dice. That is important. Personal hygiene, obviously, is very important.
Very important.
Please, obviously, it should go without saying, though it has to be said. Wear deodorant.
If you can. I know some people are like allergic
Sure. Then
to certain things.
Then
but
spray
like,
some cologne. I don't know. Just do something.
Axe body spray.
Axe chocolate. The high
Ooh, Dark Temptation.
the high school number one.
Yeah, dude.
Besides that, make sure you always locate where the bathroom's at.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, definitely.
Because it's you don't want to, one, possibly waste time by looking for one.
Yeah.
And two, if you're obviously we want to assume that everyone has the best of faith and everyone's playing fair, but if you have to use the bathroom when your opponent's doing a movement phase, for instance, it might be best to be quick.
I had to do a movement, well, not like a movement, but I had to go to the little boys' room.
You had a bowel movement?
No, not that movement. I didn't have that movement. Nah, I had to go to a little tinkle. But like, it did happen during the movement phase, and I was like in and out. Like,
Yeah, just in case. Yeah, you never know.
yeah.
We always assume the opponent has the best intentions, but
Well, I mean, that match, I kind of looked at it and I was like, I ain't winning that one. like that one, I was just like, he's moving. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
was that the Admech game?
No, that was the Drukari with 9 Chronos game.
The
That
Yes.
game, yeah. I mean, you never know. Tournaments kind of bring out some odd sides of people sometimes. So
Yes.
I totally understand, like, going to the bathroom in and out quickly.
Yeah.
And you should be going in and out quickly, probably just in general. You're normally on the clock. You would use
true.
the bathroom
Oh,
between
yeah.
games,
Yeah.
but often, if you're playing custodians, you're probably okay. If you're playing guard, maybe be a little fast.
Yeah. One thing that you should probably bring too with the current state of the world, you should definitely probably bring some disinfectant. Like maybe some what are they called? Wet ones, like wipes.
wipes
Oh, yeah, the
or
wet wipes.
something.
Yeah, wet wipes.
Hand sanitizer.
and then hand
Those little
sanitizers.
like flossing size things you get from like Bath and Body Works.
Yeah.
A little bit of sanitizer.
Yeah, and then also bring a mask just in case.
Yeah,
I brought one. I'm vaccinated, and I'm guessing, I'm hoping everyone that was there who didn't mask up was vaccinated. I'm sure they were. Everybody was great. But yeah,
Sometimes your opponent might be wearing a mask and they might respectfully ask you to also wear one. And if they do, then oblige. Have a mask on. Yeah.
I mean, just be nice to one another. What is it that they always say? Treat others the way that you want to be treated, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of the whole physical thing, I kind of think of like going to a tournament as like going out to the city, like for the whole day. Bring everything you need. Maybe like a little backpack. Be comfortable. Hand sanitizers, all that good stuff.
You say treat us how you want to be treated, but the guy I fought brought Jazar, so as far as I'm concerned, he has no respect for me. Okay, Jazar is a boss.
well, I mean, the guy with the 9 Chronos bit me over the table, and
He did.
yeah,
And as far as I'm
that's the
concerned,
way I wanted it to be treated.
Yeah, let's go for it. All right.
So
Pen.
yes, pin.
Yeah.
So this being my first event, I showed up really unprepared, and it was just because literally Friday I had packed everything that I thought I needed. I brought my dice, I brought the models I needed, I packed clothes, luckily, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, and luckily Bricky provided me with shampoo and soap.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
But when I got to the tournament day one, I did not bring a pen or pencil, and I also did not bring my measuring tape. So during round one, I had to use my opponent's measuring tape, and he was nice enough to let me use his measuring tape. I was like, hey, I made a boo-boo, and I left my measuring tape at home. He's like, where do you live? And I was like, I live in San Diego, so that's not happening. Can I use yours? And then right after that match, I went straight to Target because it was lunch break, and I bought a tape measure. So
it's not only that, but also remembering. John P., what were you going to say?
What was that guy?
Save me from this because I'm forgetting what I was going to say.
What was I gonna say? I don't know. Make a checklist of all the things you want to bring.
I remember it now.
Okay.
I remember now. It's a small thing, but a little thing of super glue.
Oh, yeah, true. I
just
brought
in
that.
case.
Yeah.
Yep.
Often people break stuff like a little antenna or sliding snaps, and especially your opponent.
Yeah.
Dude,
I was the hero. Like, everybody was like, yo, you got super glue? I was like, dude, I don't just have super glue. I have super glue and Quickset.
Ooh.
I was ready, baby.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And for some reason, the super glue and Quickset isn't working. Sticky tack.
Yep.
Sticky tack also works, yeah. I've had many a times where I have Seraphim. Seraphim are flyers. They are on little bases, and they go snip. And with those snipping, I gotta be like, okay, here we go,
Dude, every time I took Mortarion out of the foam, I was like,
Really?
the wing's gonna snap. Because like one of the wings is kind of loose. It is super glue. So I was like, oh, he's gonna snap. Like I feel it. He didn't snap. No, he didn't.
Dude,
snap.
Morty is resilient.
Yeah.
Not only in
Disgustingly
game,
Revoltingly.
not only in game, but the model.
Yeah. Speaking of revolting, let's talk about our opponents.
Yes. So, besides them being revolting, so one thing that you should do as a nicety, I had some. Luckily, Kenny is a wonderful human being. He printed out everybody's lists and gave them to one of our fellow teammates. I think it was Kenny. It might have been Zach. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure it was Kenny. Printed out all the lists, gave them to one of the other guys, and they handed them out to us. And it was 5 copies so that we can hand them out to the opponent. The only person that didn't have theirs was Mark. But, like, understandable because, like, Marky had to submit his list, like, the day of. So, like, we handed those out. And, yeah, it was good. Like, I didn't have to explain as much, which is nice. Or, like, my opponent could just look and be like, hey, what is this? What does this do again? Like, but most people, when I said stench vats, they were just like,
So I didn't charge, so I fight last.
That was the
no matter
opposite of
what
what I had. They were like, "You running Morphin Vol?" I'm like, "Nah." I'm like, what?
you're not what?
What do you mean?
I can't buy her.
Yep, yeah, she sold out. Actually, I found that it's really helpful to have 2 copies of your list.
Yeah.
The one main one you can take off Battlescribe or something.
Yeah.
And also a little Google Doc you put with the assumption that your opponent knows what you have.
Yeah.
So you just type in Morven Vol, Celestine.
Yep.
2 squads of 5 Battle Sisters, 20 with 4 Stormbolters. You know,
Yeah.
10 Repentia. You don't need to have all the little details.
Yep.
Because if your opponent, like if John P gave me a thing and it said 6 Blade Guard veteran, I'd be like, I know that.
Yep.
You know, I don't need to know every single data sheet about it. Like, I know what that is.
Yeah. And besides the list, also probably one of the most helpful things that I had there was the Grand Tournament 2021 book. That was actually really handy that I had it on me along with my codex. So like I had my cheat sheet that I always do with like the army list breakdown and then like certain things so I could remember because I'm old and I need like little things to help me remember, like specific stratagems and all these other things. So that, and I could always just show my opponent like, hey, I'm using this. If they ever question it, like I'm like spending 1 CP to get +1 to wound. Well, what is that? It's this. And then they're like, well, that's on a sheet of paper. Well, I have my codex. So I can show you in the codex.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Little books like those, and also like if you happen to have like the data cards, you can't see it if you're listening, but if you're watching, you can see them. Data cards not only help yourself, but also help your opponent. If you're playing an army like Necrons or Admech, where you have like protocols or canticles, you could pull them out.
If you
put the one that you're using on top, and that's it.
If you're watching, if you're not, oh well. I actually got these things from Etsy. There's these cool little Necron tombs or whatever, and they actually stack on top of each other, and they all have a different protocol. So you can pick the ones you want, place them down for the one that's active, and then when next battle round comes, like there, so you don't need to remember it, and you can keep them secret, and it's still all there and easy to work with. I actually have a giant little fleur de lis, however it's pronounced.
Lee.
Thank you. With a whole bunch of dice slots in there, and I use that for all my miracle dice. And I put it to the side.
Yeah, I remember.
So if anyone wants to know what miracle dice does he have on him, they're all right there and listed.
Yeah. Well, and dude, there was an Admech guy for you, John P, that actually had like he had the canticles or whatever on these little like it was like pogs almost, like plastic pogs.
Oh.
Yeah, it was super useful. So cuz like when he was like throwing them out, I was just like, "Oh." The other cool thing that this guy did too was when he was during his movement phase, he would put coins next to my guys to distinguish which ones he knew were his target priority.
Wow.
Yeah, that man was on point.
That's nifty.
Yeah. That was also the guy too where I blew up the tank. But like that man was on point.
Yeah, small things like that are really helpful. I found that it's really nice. We were talking about this earlier, like in a Brazilian steakhouse where they have the red and green little pucks. You can flip over to say if you're done or good or not.
Okay.
Little things like that in card form that you can write on, I really enjoy for certain abilities. For example, the Triumph of St. Catherine has a ability to, when someone 6 inches, or a core unit 6 inches, uses a miracle dice, you can change that miracle dice to a 6. But you can only do that once per battle round.
Yeah.
And you can use a miracle dice once every phase. So it can be pretty easy for you to do it into shooting and then totally forget that you already did it. And then you try to do it again in the charge. And that's like, it might appear like you're either cheating or something, but you just don't remember that you did it already.
That sounds really easy to mess up.
Yeah. So especially because it's battle round, not turn.
Yeah.
So having a nice card that's red and green, and both of them says St. Catherine's 6 miracle dice. And if you have it green at the start of the battle round, when you use it, you just flip that thing over and then it's red. And then until next battle round, I already used it, can't do it again.
Yeah, red means stop, right?
Red does mean stop.
Green means go.
It depends.
Depends on what old people wear.
And old people stop at green sometimes.
They can't see.
Little cheat sheets like that are super nice. Like when I was rolling for my Sacred Rites, which are my army-wide buffs for sisters, they had the 6 cards, and I often would just roll 2 dice for them instead of picking one because I thought it was fun. And I had to remember what they were every time because it was different every game. So I would make sure I had the 2 cards there. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I have Spirit of the Martyr. If you kill me in melee on a 6, I do Immortal. I got to remember that so I don't forget, because then I do, and then no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel that. It's
Except for me.
having rotating buffs. And even Matt, like the game we played with his keepers, he was rolling like traits for his warlord.
Oh,
traits.
his exalted.
Yeah,
keepers.
so he had like little sticky notes for each one. Each one had different. That sounds really hard to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little things like that.
Yeah. So you just little ways to help you remind yourself.
Yeah, because I need to construct something for my witches so that when I do my combat drugs, because I'm probably going to more than likely just roll them randomly to get to, that I'll remember what they are. And I'm also thinking about creating like a laminated card for power from pain, so I can remember like what battle round I'm in. So
yeah,
it'd be kind of cool, the little token too.
Yeah,
like you can like move it down per battle round.
Yeah. I have like what was it? The black heart. Like I could have a black heart.
Yes, because you're always advanced by 1.
And then put everything else on whatever a pawn.
Yeah, or you could even do. You got a 3D printer? You could make something cool. That sounds like a lot.
I could 3D print a 3D printer.
Yeah,
a really spiky Drukhari King chess piece. Just move it down.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, little things like that, little trinkets or things that help you remember stuff, not only for the benefit of your opponent, but also for you. Which, speaking of benefit of the opponent, making sure, because it's a tournament, you are not obliged or required to tell your opponent anything in particular.
Yeah, no.
But it tends to be pretty good sportsmanship to do so.
Oh, yeah.
When I was playing Sisters, nobody I fought knew what in God's name I was doing. Yeah. Because it's already a confusing army to begin with, and the codex was 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
So it was constantly like, hey, I rolled these. My entire army has a 5-up psychic denial, Mr. Grey Knight Man. Enjoy that. Or when I fought Nids, for instance, I was like, hey, I auto-deny on a 6, but the Triumph has all 6 Sacred Rites always active, so she does it on 5s. So when I see you try to cast Catalyst, she's going to be the one who denies it. Or maybe stay away from her more so. You know?
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
It's going to be... that just reminds me, I was so nervous about Grey Knights in the league. And then I played against them. I was like, oh, it's not that bad. But now I'm just like,
oh no,
Codex. I'm like,
they're
scared
back.
about them all over again.
And better.
Yeah.
And especially with AdMech. I mean, John P., you know this, like the having to remember canticles, like the binaric overrides or whatever they are, all those things.
Yeah, everything in the command phase, we were just pointing, yelling at people, giving them buffs, not on top of that, all the buffs that you get.
Yeah.
Little tokens, while they break immersion a little bit, can be fun, where you can put them next to a big blob of Skitarii and say +1 to hit, like minus, or ignore AP -1 and 2. Just small, like little tokens, little things to note.
I mean, honestly, every single opponent that I went against, like, they explained everything. Even when I went up against 9 Chronos, like, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Dark Technomancer. Like, I thought that was like no auto hit guns. And come to find out, I don't know why my brain went there when I looked at the FAQ. That's like where my brain went. No, it was not auto hit guns. It was just liquefiers. So like he had 9 Chronos with an auto hit gun, and then another gun, which is an assault gun, then another gun that's an assault gun with 6 shots. And yeah, it was nuts. But I mean, like every single one of my opponents, every single time I was just like, when I got confused and I was just like, wait, I thought this, everybody was super nice. They were like, no, I don't think so. If you want, we can check. And I was like, I'm down. I mean, we could put it on my time. That's fine. So like we would look it up and like, yeah, no.
Often respectable opponents who are there to legitimately be good at the game and play well, they often deem it the concept that if you don't know what their army does, then they're winning because you lack the knowledge of something and not because they're better than you.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'd rather give my opponent all the information he needs, because if I beat him, even when he knows everything, that means that's because I was the better player. I played better.
Not because I gotcha'd him.
Yeah, not because I messed with him.
Yeah.
And that Dracarys list went 500. So like, that guy knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
like,
I'll tell you everything. I'll give you the key to my house, and I'll still beat you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this. This is exactly what I'm gonna do, and I still beat you.
Like I took that butt whooping, and I was just like, yep.
If someone's gonna butt whoop you, the Drakari will be the ones.
Yep. I was just like, man, I played that art. Like when we started playing, he's like, do you need me to explain everything? I was just like, well, I played Drakari, so I know most of what they do. And then like he was telling me like this is Bloody Rose, or not Bloody Rose.
Bloody Rose.
Yeah.
Bloody.
Blackheart. This is Blackheart. And then he was like, the sisters are from the Cheriton. Yeah, that sisters, or not sisters, witches. Where Ricky,
dude.
you are messing with my brain right now.
The cult of strife.
And sisters, yeah, Cult of Strife, with the crazy relic and the warlord trait to deal mortals, and then of course Dark Technomancer. And I don't know why, but when he said Dark Technomancer, my brain just went off. Like it was said Dark Technomancer, and it was just like turn off.
Is that your trigger word?
Yeah, Dark Technomancer, brain off. Like
It starts drooling.
So, but yeah, everybody was super cool. I mean, it was the same thing in the league. Actually, most of my opponents were like super nice. They were like, "Dude, you explained your army perfectly. Thank you." And I was just like, "Really? What happened? I blacked out."
You just black out from battle. You just whoop on people and you don't remember any of it.
Yeah, dude, I'm like Will Ferrell, like during old school when he's doing the debate.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, what happened? I blacked out.
Well, also you had what? Morty, 3 PBCs, 2 defilers, and like 2 drones.
Yeah. It was still fun. It was a pretty fun list because I was just like shooting. It was like playing Tau, but as Death Guard.
That's funny. One thing we forgot to mention that we listed down was bringing a bunch of different types of dice.
Yes.
Yes.
So bring your standard, maybe 16 mil or 12 mil, whatever your preference is. But remember to bring D20s also. If you have stuff that's over like 6 wounds. Bringing little dice for like wound trackers are very helpful also. So yeah.
If you have a lot of tanks, lots of D12s, they normally have 12 or 11 wounds.
Yeah.
Also, make sure your dice are very visible from like 5 feet away.
Yeah.
If you have like those super colorful ones that are like, blue and purple that are hard to see, people might think you're cheating.
Also, if you can, a dice tray.
Oh yes,
yeah,
This is actually something we didn't talk about. Carrying in your army.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
A lot of people brought carts. I noticed, and they said go get one of those Amazon carts, put your whole army on. You can just wheel it around the venue the whole time.
Yep.
And then you can pack it back up in your classic carrying case afterwards. I didn't do that. I'm gonna do that.
I think I saw. I can't remember. I think it was a Frontline Gaming thing. But a lot of people had like these MDF trays.
Ooh. Yeah, trays.
Yeah.
For frontlinegaming.org?
Yeah, I think so.
Frontlinegaming.org.
Frontlinegaming.org.
Ooh.
You can get an MDF tray. So, but yeah, they were using those, and like I didn't bring that. So like every single time I finished, I had to pack everything back up into the foam, then like walk back around. Luckily, like most of our matches were like really close, so I didn't have to like walk too far. But like it was a pain. Like I had to take everything back out, put it back out on the table, and then like my opponent's already ready. Like his whole army's on the table, and I'm just like, hold on, I'm fumbling around getting this out. Give me a second.
See, I had to do the exact same with my army. And I was playing Sisters.
With
I had
way
to
more
pack them
models.
all back in the foam and all out of the foam every game.
Yeah.
Which tray and or cart.
Yeah.
Very good idea.
Yeah, definitely. I saw a guy like every time I saw him, I giggled because it just looked like he was carting around a tool thing, like one of those rolling tool chests. But it was a cart with like what looked like a tool chest on top, and it was his army in there. And I just giggled every time I saw it because I was just like, Snap-on tools.
Is there anything major for prep that we besides like measuring tape and that usual stuff?
Well, I already touched on that because I forgot that. I don't think so.
Print out any relevant like erratas, FAQs.
Yes, that's nice. Well, okay. Obviously, have your codex or supplement if you need it, or if you have it. Obviously, perhaps either sometimes screenshots of either an FAQ specific things, where it's like, hey, this stratagem got FAQ'd. It's now a CP cheaper or more expensive or whatever. Small things like that, both for the good of yourself and your opponent.
Yep.
Taking pictures during your games.
Not
only for memory keepsake, but also to like as like film study afterwards. Take pictures of like your deployment. Take pictures, after specific turns, maybe like turn 1, turn 2, because those are big turns in the game where you're moving a majority of your army. Really can help you become better as a player. Maybe like you could take those deployment pictures, post it on like a Discord or something that talks some good strategies, and they get some advice that way.
Yep.
I deployed 20 sisters on the line, and they all died turn 1 a double Volkite. And I'm like, I should not do that next time. But then you can't really hide 20 sisters. But I was like, owie.
I deployed Mortarion on the line, but like,
is that the Chronos game?
Yeah, that was the Chronos game.
Did he
like,
die?
The guy was like, "Why did you deploy Mortarion on the line?" I was like, "Dude, it didn't matter where I put him. Like, he can be seen."
What's the distance of the Chronos weapons?
18 inches.
You could have backed him a
could
little
have put him in the back.
A little bit. You could have backed him a little bit, fired entropy cannons, and then brought
Dude,
him up.
my deployment of that game was really bad. Just because, like I said, my brain turned off.
You should have taken pictures then.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He said Dark Technomancer. My brain turned off. Literally, I put like Mortarion on this side because it was hot dog deployment, long deployment, right? So short board, right? He didn't have far to go. And like I put Mortarion on the right on the line, and then I put the foul Blight Spawn and the Death Shroud Terminator on the left. And like after that, I was just like,
I made a mistake.
And
that's when he knew he messed up.
I was like the picture of the dog with the whole house on fire, and he was like, "This is fine.
This is fine."
Yeah, I was just like, "This is fine."
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we need to cover?
I think that's it. I think that's gonna wrap it up for this episode.
It might be,
unless John P. Maybe
my last point was the picture thing. So
it was pictures,
Perfect.
or video.
Yeah, or dude, you just record your battle reports with the top-down camera.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in to episode 214 of Chapter Tactics. If you want to support the Chapter Tactics podcast, you can do so at patreon.com/Chapter Tactics. You can also follow us in all the descriptions in the link down below. And tune in next Tuesday for episode 215 of Chapter Tactics. You can catch us live on twitch.tv/DiceCheck starting at 6 p.m. PST. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.